Once upon a time, there was a 23-year-old man named Matthew who lived in a small village nestled at the edge of a wide, rolling plain. Matthew was good-hearted and friendly, but he suffered deeply from an unfortunate habit. He could not stop reliving every bad memory that crossed his mind. If someone insulted him or if some unfortunate event took place, he would dwell on it for hours, sometimes even for days. It felt as if his mind was stuck in a never-ending loop of distress, replaying the same painful scenes again and again. Matthew's troubles were not only mental, his relationships suffered too. Because he was always lost in his negative thoughts, he barely paid attention to anything else. Most days he appeared distant and irritable, which made it difficult for people in the village to get along with him. Matthew also struggled to hold down any regular work. He would start a job, but as soon as something went wrong or someone said something critical, he'd sink into a state of constant worry and distraction. This ongoing stress weighed on his heart like a heavy load he carried day and night. One day, his 25-year-old friend Lucas approached him with a concerned expression. "Matthew," he said gently, "I can see how much you're suffering. I've heard about a wise teacher named Master Lee who lives in a nearby Buddhist monastery. He's known for guiding people with all sorts of problems. Why don't you go see him? Maybe he can help you find relief from this habit of overthinking." At first, Matthew hesitated. He wasn't sure if some teacher living in a monastery a few miles away could truly help him, but the thought of a solution, any solution, became too tempting to ignore. He found himself longing for peace of mind, so he decided to follow Lucas's advice. Early the next morning, Matthew set out on a short journey to the monastery, trudging along a dusty path that meandered between farmland and small streams. As he walked under the mild sun, he felt a tiny spark of hope flicker inside him, even though he was filled with anxious thoughts about whether Master Lee could really change his life. By midday, Matthew arrived at the monastery, a modest place of worship built with simple stone walls and surrounded by tall pine trees swaying gently in the breeze. He inquired about Master Lee, and a resident monk led him through a wooden gate, across a small courtyard, and into a peaceful corridor lined with candles and quiet alcoves for meditation. Master Lee was a wise man in his late 60s, known to greet visitors with a warm smile that reflected years of compassion. When Matthew introduced himself, he bowed respectfully and spilled out his entire story. How he was unable to forget every bad memory, how he repeatedly played negative experiences in his mind, and how this habit had been crippling his life for what felt like forever. He talked about his failures with work, his strained relationships, and his constant stress. Master Lee listened patiently, nodding from time to time, but offering no immediate comment. When Matthew finished, Master Lee simply stood up and gestured for Matthew to wait. Without a word of explanation, he disappeared into one of the monastery's inner rooms. Matthew, left standing there, felt a surge of confusion and maybe a bit of disappointment. He wondered whether the teacher had any real answer for him, or if he had come all this way for nothing. Several minutes passed. Then Master Lee returned, carrying a small glass that contained about 6 ounces of water. He walked over to where Matthew stood, gently straightened his arm, and held the glass of water out in front of him at shoulder height. "My son," Master Lee said softly, "tell me, how much do you think this glass weighs?" Matthew was puzzled, but he answered as best he could. "I'm not sure of the exact weight, sir, but it can't be more than a few ounces." Master Lee nodded. "That sounds about right," he said. "Now let me ask you, what would happen if I held this glass in the air like this for 1 minute?" Matthew shrugged, still unsure of the lesson. "Honestly, probably nothing significant. You would feel fine for that short time." "Indeed," said the master. "And what if I held it for a full hour without putting it down?" Matthew looked at the glass again. "Your arm would begin to ache," he replied, "and you'd start to feel some strain in your shoulder." Master Lee kept his arm steady. "Very true. Now what if I tried to hold this glass in the exact same position for a full day?" "That would be terrible," Matthew responded. "Your arm might go numb, your muscles would cramp, and you could do serious damage to yourself. You'd probably need a doctor, or at least a lot of rest." "Excellent observation," Master Lee said. "Yet you must notice that the weight of the glass doesn't change at all during that time. Then why does my arm begin to ache? Matthew paused, trying to piece together the puzzle. Because the longer you hold on to it, the heavier it feels, even if the weight itself stays the same. Yes, Master Lai agreed. And my son, what should I do if I want to get rid of that pain? Matthew answered quickly this time, seeing where it was going. Set the glass down. With a gentle smile, Master Li placed the glass on a nearby shelf. He turned back to Matthew. That is precisely the answer I was looking for. You see, life's struggles are a lot like this glass of water. If you dwell on them for a short moment, then let them go, you'll be fine. If you think about them a little longer, they begin to hurt. If you focus on them constantly, day and night, they will cause serious suffering, rob you of your peace, and even harm your well-being. Matthew listened with rapt attention, every word resonating in his weary mind. Master Li continued, we all face struggles in our lives. But if we carry those burdens around for too long, refusing to set them down, pain, stress, and anxiety are inevitable. Just like your arm would become paralyzed if you never put that glass down, your mind can become frozen in negativity if you never release the weight of your past. Master Li went on to explain that we should learn from our mistakes, not keep punishing ourselves or others by holding on to anger, regrets, or the desire for revenge. The key is to move forward, to lighten your load by acknowledging what happened, then letting the worry slip away. Don't let yesterday's problems take up space in your mind today, he advised. Looking Matthew in the eye, Master Li added, every evening as early as you can, set down all your troubles. Don't carry them into the night, and don't bring them with you into the next day. If you wake up feeling the weight of yesterday's stress, that's your sign you still haven't put the glass down. Those words struck a chord deep in Matthew's heart. He suddenly realized how tightly he had been gripping every bad memory, every insult, and every unfortunate event. In his stubbornness, he had refused to let them go, hoping that holding on might bring him justice or closure. Instead, it had only brought him constant torment. Before leaving the monastery, Matthew thanked Master Li with genuine gratitude. He felt as though a small but crucial door in his mind had opened, revealing a more peaceful path ahead. Master Li placed a gentle hand on Matthew's shoulder and said, remember, the water does not become heavier on its own. It's your grip and the duration of your hold that create the pain. You have the power to set it down whenever you choose. Matthew departed the monastery and walked back along the winding path, noticing the soft breeze and the fading sunlight as late afternoon turned to evening. He reflected on the lesson he had just learned. Struggles, like water in a glass, don't become heavier with time unless we refuse to put them down. It was such a simple idea, yet so profound. For the first time in a long while, Matthew felt he could breathe more freely. A renewed sense of hope and possibility filled his mind. When he finally returned to his village, he sought out his friend Lucas. With a beaming smile, he recounted Master Li's lesson, explaining how he felt like a burden had been lifted. Lucas was thrilled to see the spark of optimism in Matthew's eyes. They sat together for a while, talking about the importance of letting go of the past and focusing on the present. From that day on, whenever Matthew felt old memories creeping back to haunt him, he pictured the glass of water in Master Li's hand. He reminded himself that, at any moment, he could choose to release his worries instead of clinging to them. And each evening, before closing his eyes to sleep, Matthew practiced setting down his mental burdens, clearing his mind so he could rest and wake up unencumbered by the weight of yesterday's struggles. And so it was that, thanks to a few ounces of water and a wise teacher's metaphor, Matthew found a powerful way to free himself from the constant cycle of overthinking. Gradually, he began to repair his relationships, work more effectively, and most importantly, find peace within. Indeed, the simple decision to put the glass down turned out to be a life-changing insight, one that any of us can embrace if we remember not to let our daily troubles become overwhelming weights in our hands.